And now, it's story time with your host, Carl Childers.
I went to a yard sale with Mr. Bill Cox there and got me a bunch of books. I'm turning into a real reader. I did find a book about a boy and his bear called Winnie the Pooh. I can tell you about it if you want me to.
Yeah, I'd like to hear you.
I'd like to put her to a vote. All right, then. Well, sir, once upon a time there's this sickly little boy over in England. He was right puny, pitiful, no bigger than a squirrel. He had him a pet bear named Winnie. I reckon there probably ain't much worse than a bear that complains all the time. But that boy, he loved that bear, and that's what counted. Every day that sickly boy and Winnie, they'd wander off in the woods summers, getting into adventures and whatnot. They had some other critter friends with them. Some donkey named a eyesore, little pig named a pigpen, some nervous rabbit, an old owl, and a kangaroo with a young'un in its pouch. That one made me laugh. Well, sir, one day that sickly boy and Winnie, they got a hankering for some honey. See, now, over in England, they put honey on their biscuits instead of mustard. But in old-timey days, you couldn't just drive down to the food genie there and get some. Folks had to do for themselves. So they bundled up them other critters and they headed for that big old tree that was just a swarming with bees. Turns out that honey was a fur piece up in the tree there, though. They had to get around all them bees without getting stung. They figured on it for a while, and that sickly boy come up with an idea. He had old Winnie roll around in the mud there to fool them bees into thinking he was a storm cloud. Then he tied a balloon to him so he could float up to where the honey was. Seems you couldn't find honey in a store there, but I reckon there's a place to buy helium balloons out there in the woods. So old Winnie, he floated up where them bees was. Them bees pretty smart. They weren't fooled none. They popped that balloon right quick. Winnie was a mite tubby, so the fall didn't hurt him none when he hit the ground. But they was all a mite put out. They went back to Nervous Rabbit's house there in that stump to figure out another plan. Winnie found out that Rabbit had a big old jar of honey on the shelf. He didn't like that Rabbit had holding out on him. He got that down. He ate that whole jar of honey without sharing a bit of it. They couldn't do much about it, on account of he was a bear. All they could do was holler, "What'd you eat all the honey for? What'd you eat all the honey for?" Well, they got another plan together, and they set off to get the honey out of that tree. But old Winnie there, he'd eat up so much honey they couldn't get out the door. He got stuck about half in, half out. So sickly boy, eyesore and pigpen pulled from the front. Owl and kangaroo and the rabbit pushed from the back. Before too long, Winnie come out of that doorway with a pop. He flew through the air, keistered over a tea kettle, way up in that tree. Got stuck head first in the hole where that honey was. He saw that honey, his eye just glazed over. Old Winnie the Pooh, he ate and ate that honey. The bees, they started stinging him. Winnie just kept on eating. What Winnie didn't know was, he had one of them allergies to bee stings. He swole up, killed him. He was so swole up, he stayed up in that tree hole for pretty near a week before his carcass fell out. Old Rabbit, he had the last laugh. Made a rug out of him. The end. Moral of the story, bears won't kill you, but a sweet tooth will.